I didn't find out my parents weren't coming to my wedding through some dramatic screaming match or a tearful confession. I found out because my mom said it like she was confirming a dinner reservation. We were sitting at their kitchen table, the same table where I'd done homework, blown out birthday candles, and tried, year after year, to convince myself that being low maintenance was a good thing. My mom looked straight at me and said, "Your sister's wedding is the family priority. We can't come to yours. No softness, no apology, not even the performative little grimace people make when they know they're doing something cruel." My dad didn't argue with her. He just blinked and stared down at his hands like they were the only safe place to look. And my sister, my younger sister, smiled like this was normal, like we were discussing who gets the bigger slice of cake. Something in me went very quiet, not numb, not shocked, just quiet, like a door closing so cleanly you almost don't hear it. I stood up, pushed my chair in, and walked out of the house without raising my voice. I didn't plead. I didn't bargain. I didn't do the thing I'd done my whole life, try to make myself small enough to fit into whatever space they were willing to give me. That night, I went home, sat in the dark living room, and realized I had a choice. I could keep chasing the kind of family I'd been trained to want, or I could build a life where nobody got to decide whether I mattered. My name is Mara. I'm 29 now, and I grew up in a house where love was measured by convenience. If something was easier for my parents, then it was fair. If it made their lives smoother, it was reasonable. If it avoided conflict, especially conflict with my sister, then it was the best decision for everyone. And somehow, the easiest choice was always my younger sister, Daphne. Daphne was the bright one, the effortless one, the child whose smallest win became an event. When she made the junior varsity team, my mom baked cupcakes and called relatives. When I got a scholarship that paid for most of my senior year, my mom said, "That's nice, honey," and asked if I could pick up laundry detergent on the way home. It didn't feel dramatic when I was a kid. It rarely does. It's not one big thing you can point to. It's 1,000 small decisions that all lean in the same direction. You learn over time that you're not the first person people consider. You're the person they remember after they've already decided. When I was 16, my mom redecorated the hallway. New frames, new prints, a little gallery of family memories. One day I noticed one photo looked off. The frame was the same, but the picture inside seemed tighter. I took it down and realized she'd replaced it with a cropped version of the same photo. My shoulder was still in it. The edge of my hair was still in it, but my face was. I stared at it for a long time, like if I stared hard enough it would become a mistake I could forgive. When I asked my mom about it, she laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh my God, Mara, you're still there," she said, waving her hand like I was being ridiculous. "The frame just looks better this way." I remember standing in that hallway, holding a picture where I had been edited out of my own family, and realizing something that changed the shape of my entire life. I could try my hardest. I could shine my brightest. And I could still be the part someone felt comfortable trimming away. So I did what overlooked kids do when they grow up and realize begging doesn't work. I worked. I studied, I saved. I pushed myself so hard I didn't even notice how tired I was until I stopped moving. I built a life where my existence wasn't a debate. In college, I went into operations and data systems because I liked the feeling of building something clean and functional. There's a comfort in logic when the people around you are unpredictable. A process does what it's designed to do. A system either works or it doesn't. It doesn't decide you're less lovable because someone else is louder. After graduation, I started a small consulting firm, mostly logistics and supply chain optimization, the kind of work nobody notices until something breaks. Long nights, cheap meals, weekends that weren't weekends. I didn't become successful because I wanted to prove anything. I became successful because I was terrified of being dependent on people who had already shown me what they do when choosing me becomes inconvenient. When the business grew, when the contracts got bigger and the numbers stopped looking like a dream and started looking like a future, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Stability. Control. And then, when I was 27, a larger company offered to buy what I'd built. It was more money than anyone in my hometown would imagine I'd ever have. I signed the papers, walked back to my apartment, and sat on the floor with a cup of tea I didn't taste. I didn't call my parents, not because I wanted to punish them, because I knew exactly what would happen. My success would become a story they could use, a brag, a post, something they could claim now that it was respectable and easy to understand. But the years when it was hard, when it was lonely, when I needed someone to say, "I see you," they hadn't asked. They never asked. And I got tired of offering parts of myself to people who treated me like background. Then I met Evan. Evan didn't fall in love with my achievements. He didn't treat my independence like a threat or a novelty. He just showed up, quietly, consistently. The kind of man who remembers what you said last week and checks in without you having to perform your pain in front of him. When he proposed, it wasn't in a crowded restaurant. It wasn't a staged moment designed for other people to watch. We were in our kitchen, cooking dinner, and he paused like the thought had gotten too heavy to keep inside him. He looked at me and said, "I don't want a life where I'm not your family." That was it. No fireworks, no orchestra, just a truth so steady it made my chest ache. We planned a small wedding early in the fall, a lakeside lodge outside the city. Warm string lights, simple flowers, good food. 70 people, enough to feel like community, not a performance. I planned ahead. I mailed invitations early. I even pressed little sprigs of rosemary into the envelopes, because Evan and I had cooked with rosemary on our first date, and the smell still felt like the beginning of something safe. When I handed my parents their invitation, my mom smiled politely and said, "Of course we'll be there." It sounded like a promise the way someone says they'll try to go to the gym, but I still believed her. Because even when you grow up being overlooked, some part of you keeps hoping that one day they'll look up and finally see you. Then Daphne got engaged, and I tried to be happy for her. I really did. I congratulated her, asked about her fiancé, offered vendor recommendations, told her what I'd learned planning mine. She was bubbly and sweet in that way she'd perfected, sweet enough that if you ever accused her of doing something cruel, she could blink and say, "What, me?" I would never. A week later, she called me, giggling. "Okay, don't freak out," she said, "but we picked a date." I smiled, leaning back on my couch. "That's great, when?" And she said it, the exact same day as mine, same Saturday, same month, same weekend. For a second, my brain refused to understand it. I actually checked my calendar like maybe I had lost my mind. "Daphne," I said slowly, "that's my wedding day." There was a pause, then a little airy sigh like I was being dramatic. "Oh my God, you're right." "That's so wild," she said. "But it's the only date his parents can do. It's like fate." Fate, sure. I told myself not to assume malice when something could be explained by selfishness. Daphne didn't need to actively hate me to be willing to step on me. She'd been taught her whole life that the world would move to accommodate her, and she'd never had to question it. But my stomach felt cold, because I knew what was coming. 2 weeks later, my mom called me. Her voice had that careful softness she used whenever she was about to pick the easier child and wanted to sound like she was being kind. "Honey," she said, "we've been talking." I didn't answer, I just waited. "Kendra S.," she stopped, corrected herself. "Daphne's fiancé's family can only do that weekend, and she's under so much stress. Could you adjust yours? Adjust, like my wedding was a furniture delivery." "Mom," I said, keeping my voice calm, "my invitations already went out. The venue is booked." People requested time off work. Silence, then the softness faded. "Mara, you're the practical one," she said. "You'll understand. Daphne is emotional, you know how she is." There it was, the family rule. If Daphne might be upset, everyone rearranges themselves around her. I swallowed hard and asked the question I already knew the answer to. "So if I don't change my wedding, you won't come?" My mom's response was immediate, like she'd rehearsed it. "We'll see." "We'll see" is what people say when they've already decided, but they want you to carry the guilt. That night my dad called. He sounded tired, resigned, like he was calling to do damage control without actually changing anything. "Kiddo," he said, "your mother S just worried this will hurt Daphne." I didn't say anything. He kept going. "If we choose yours, she'll take it personally. She'll never forgive us." I let a beat of silence sit there heavy. "And if you don't choose mine?" I asked. He sighed like I was asking him why gravity exists. "You'll be fine." That sentence, I hate that sentence. Because you'll be fine doesn't mean they believe in you. It means they're counting on your strength so they don't have to show any. Days passed with that tension humming under everything. Daphne texted me cheerful little messages like nothing was happening. "Isn't it crazy our weddings are the same day? It's like we're twins." I typed replies, deleted them. What was I supposed to say? She'd never lived in a world where someone else's joy swallowed hers. Then came the text from my mom. It arrived on a Wednesday afternoon while I was at my desk, answering emails about seating charts and meal preferences. "After discussing it, we've decided we can't attend your ceremony. The logistics are too complicated to do both. We hope you understand." No apology, no love, just logistics. I read it 3 times, and the strangest thing happened. I didn't cry. I felt calm, not the calm of giving up. The calm of finally understanding the truth without trying to soften it. I typed back 2 words. "That's fine." Then I set my phone down and stared at my screen until the letters blurred. That was the moment something in me stopped bending. Evan came home later and found me sitting on the couch, still in my work clothes, staring at nothing. He knelt in front of me and said, "Tell me." I handed him my phone. He read the message once and his jaw tightened, not in anger, more like disbelief that anyone could be this casually cruel. He looked up at me and said, "Stop waiting for them to choose you." I whispered, "They're my parents." He nodded. "And you're still their daughter, that's the part they keep forgetting." That night after Evan fell asleep, I opened my laptop. I didn't scroll social media. I didn't stalk Daphne's wedding page. I didn't spiral. I opened a folder I'd kept private for months. Photos, invoices, renovation notes. A property I'd bought quietly after selling my company. A small historic house near the coast, about 2 hours away. Weathered wood, wide porch, a backyard that opened toward the water. Not a mansion, not a flex. A place that felt like breathing. I'd been fixing it up slowly. Fresh paint, repaired decks, string lights, local catering contacts. I never told my parents. Why would I? They never asked about my life unless it involved Daphne. As I stared at those photos, an idea formed so clearly it felt like a heartbeat. If they won't come to my wedding, then I'm done dragging my life to where they're willing to glance at it. I'll bring my wedding to the life I built without their permission. The next morning, I called my Aunt Lena, my dad's older sister. Aunt Lena is the kind of woman who doesn't say, "Oh, honey," and offer you a tissue. She says, "Tell me the truth." So I did. I told her about the photo cropping, about the scholarship shrug, about the "you'll be fine," about my mom's text. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "They're doing it again." I didn't even have to ask what she meant. I said, "I'm not canceling, but I might move it." "To where?" she asked. I hesitated, then said, "I have a house by the coast. We can do it there." Aunt Lena laughed, not at me like she was relieved. "Oh," she said. "Good, finally." Within a few hours, she called back. "I'm making a family group chat," she said. "And I'm going to say one thing, RSVP to Mara's wedding by Friday." My heart started pounding. "Aunt Lena, don't start drama." She snorted. "Sweetheart, the drama started when they treated you like an optional event." I sent updated details to everyone who had already RSVP'd. Address, lodging options, transport, a note that we'd keep it simple and warm. And something happened that I wasn't prepared for. People didn't hesitate. My cousin Nate texted, "I'm in, need help setting up." My grandmother called and said, "I was wondering when someone would stop pretending." My old college mentor replied, "I wouldn't miss it." Even relatives who never take sides suddenly became very decisive. It was like everyone had been quietly watching the same imbalance for years, waiting for someone to name it without begging. I didn't announce it to my parents. I didn't ask permission. I simply moved forward, and I didn't do it to hurt Daphne. I did it because I finally understood something I'd spent my whole life avoiding. If people want to be in your life, they will show up. And if they don't, your job isn't to perform your pain until they feel guilty. Your job is to build a life that doesn't require their approval to be real. The morning of my wedding, I woke up before sunrise. The ocean was gray-blue and steady, the air cool enough to make my skin feel awake. Inside the house, the kitchen smelled like coffee and pastries. Someone, Aunt Lena, probably had already started a playlist. Evan came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist, and rested his chin on my shoulder. "You okay?" he asked. I stared out at the water and said, "I think I'm finally done trying to earn what should have been free." Guests started arriving mid-morning, stepping onto the porch with garment bags and gift bags and wind-blown hair. My grandmother arrived in a soft blue dress and held my face in her hands. "There you are," she said, like she'd been looking for me for years. "My girl." And I felt my throat tighten because that sentence landed differently than "you'll be fine." It wasn't a dismissal. It was an arrival. We set up chairs on the lawn, a simple arch with greenery, candles along the walkway, nothing extravagant. But it was mine. It was real. 2 hours away, Daphne was getting married at a country club ballroom. I know what was happening there because my cousin Nate, who is both chaotic and loyal, was invited to both and decided to be my unofficial reporter. At 10:45 a.m., he sent a photo. Rows of chairs, a lot of empty space. Caption: "This room is quiet." Another message: "Your parents look confused." Then, Daphne keeps asking if people are stuck in traffic. I didn't answer, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to spend an important day managing how they felt about what they'd done. At 3:00 p.m., I walked down the aisle to Evan. The wind tugged gently at my dress. The ocean behind him looked endless. Evan's eyes were already wet, and when he took my hands, he held them like he understood exactly what it cost me to stand there and choose myself. When we said our vows, something settled in my chest. Not victory, peace. The kind of peace you get when you stop auditioning for love. After the ceremony, we moved into the backyard for dinner. Long tables under string lights, warm plates, laughter drifting into the evening like smoke from a fire. Aunt Lena stood up during toasts. She didn't mention Daphne. She didn't mention my parents. She looked at me and said, "Mara has spent her life being told to understand. Today, we're the ones who understand her." People clapped hard, the kind of clap that isn't polite, the kind that's been waiting. I looked down the table and saw faces turned toward me with warmth, with pride, with something I'd always wanted but couldn't name. Choice. Meanwhile, the country club ballroom wasn't filling up. Later, I'd learn why. But in that moment, I was busy watching my grandmother laugh as my friends passed her bread, busy watching Evan's hand find mine every few minutes like he was reminding me, silently, that I wasn't alone in this anymore. At 6:10 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from my dad. "Are you at the coast? People are saying you moved it." Another from my mom. "Why didn't you tell us about this house?" Then Daphne. "Are you serious right now? Is this some kind of joke?" I stared at the screen for a few seconds, then set the phone face down on the table. My friend Tessa leaned in and whispered, "They're spiraling, aren't they?" I took a slow sip of water and said, "Probably." "You okay?" she asked. I looked around at the lights, the food, the people who had traveled, rearranged schedules, shown up. And I realized I was more than okay. I was finally in a room where my presence didn't have to be justified. The next day, Nate called me and told me what happened at Daphne's wedding. He didn't sound gleeful. He sounded tired, like someone who had watched a family dynamic rot for years and finally saw it exposed under bright lighting. "Okay," he said. "So, people didn't come. How many?" I asked. He exhaled. Enough that it was obvious, like painfully obvious. Apparently, Daphne walked into the aisle expecting a grand moment. Eyes, cameras, applause, the whole thing. Instead, she saw empty chairs and the few people who did show up sitting stiffly, looking like they'd just learned the truth about something they didn't want to admit. Nate said my mom sat in the front row gripping her purse like it was armor. My dad kept checking his phone, and someone in the back whispered loud enough for Daphne to hear, "Are they all at Mara's?" Another person said, "I saw photos, it's by the water." Daphne's face changed, Nate told me. Not heartbreak, not sadness, calculation. Because Daphne didn't just want a wedding. She wanted proof she was still the center of the family story. And for the first time, she couldn't get it. Nate said Daphne actually muttered, "This is humiliating." And then my mom finally said something honest. She said, "I didn't think they'd actually choose her." Choose her, like loving me was a controversial opinion, like showing up for me was an act of rebellion. That sentence should have destroyed me, but it didn't. It clarified everything. That night, while Evan and I sat on the porch with leftover cake and the sound of waves below us, my phone buzzed again. "Dad, we need to talk. We handled this wrong." "Mom, I didn't realize it would turn into this." "Daphne, you made me look like I don't matter." I stared at those messages and felt something I didn't expect. Not rage, not even satisfaction, just distance. Like I was finally far enough away from the old pattern to see it clearly. They weren't apologizing because they understood. They were panicking because the consequences finally landed somewhere they couldn't ignore. My parents weren't grieving my pain. They were grieving their image. The next morning, I woke up early again. The house was quiet. The air smelled like salt and coffee. The yard still had little scattered petals and melted candle wax from the night before. Evan came outside and sat beside me with 2 mugs. "Do you want to answer them?" he asked softly. I watched the ocean for a long moment. Then I said, "Not all of them." I replied to my dad, and I kept it simple. "I'm not discussing Daphne on my honeymoon. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be separate from her. No comparing. No, you'll be fine. If you can't do that, we'll keep distance." He didn't respond right away, and his silence told me what his words couldn't. He didn't know how to love me without centering Daphne. That's not a small issue you fix with one conversation. That's a lifetime of choices. Here's the part people expect to be dramatic. They expect me to say I never spoke to them again, or that I forgave them instantly, or that some perfect redemption happened. The truth is less cinematic and more real. The aftermath wasn't chaos. It was clarity. I stopped chasing them. I stopped explaining myself like I was on trial. I stopped trying to be the version of me they could love without effort. Some families change because you talk. Some change because you leave. Some don't change at all. They just want you back in the role that makes their life easiest. And I'm done being the easy daughter. I'm done being the one who understands. Because I finally understand something they never did. Family isn't who shares your name. Family is who shows up when it costs them something. On my wedding day, I looked around at the people who came, who drove, who took time off work, who hugged me like they meant it, and I realized I didn't lose a family. I stopped begging for one. I built a table of my own, and the right people found it.